Okay, got it. We are live. So we are live. We are in the zone. Well, first thing I have to do is change my filter because we do that when we do this episode. So we are in the zone. Next thing we have to do is we have to read out the disclaimer because we are not financial advisors and we don't want anybody trying to sue us for losing any money. Okay, so let's get that done. I'm being joined by one of my students at the moment. His name is Jay, so you may hear him in the background, and we might ask him some questions to see who's been doing some of the homework we set him. But first of all, disclaimer. Again, this episode is probably going to be about half an hour. Try and get it wrapped up in that time. And all content is for education, information, and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice or recommendation to buy, sell, hold any assets or place any trades. Please do your own research. Our content is intended and should only be used for informational use. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment, which should be based on your own individual circumstances. You should always take independent professional advice from a professional advisor or independently research and verify all and any information you may find on our show that you wish to rely upon, whether you wish to make an investment decision or otherwise. All investments come with risk. Please do your own research. We are not financial advisors and do not intend to be perceived or received as financial advisors. However, we are working in collaboration with several accredited advisors. If you're unable to mitigate the risk, then please contact us immediately so we can refer to you to an accredited advisor. Now, what's very interesting is we didn't actually cover any TA in our boot camp that we did most recently. So we did a boot camp on this Saturday. Went really, really well. Okay, so let's see if Jay remembers. What time frame do we want to look at first?
So we'll look at years, month.
Yeah, that's it. So we want to look at the monthly first to see what is the big grand scheme of things and what is potentially happening. So overall, I would say it's clear we're on a bit of a downtrend still. If we look at it, there's this overall general downtrend. That's the first thing that we have to highlight and understand. Let me just make sure this is sharing because I always get told sometimes I'm not actually sharing my screen. So let me just do that. Share screen. Okay, so we've got an overall downtrend first. So it means that we probably, in terms of if you're a trader, you don't want to trade against this. You want to be trading down. You don't want to be trading up because then you're going against the current, you're going against the wave. If you try and go against the wave, what happens? You're probably going to end up drowning. So let's now change this to the weekly. That was Apple, actually. So let's go and look at the Vanguard first. So the Vanguard, as we know, is the big boy where all the money is. So we can see we've now come down to this 702 fib level, which is a key level that we're expecting to bounce off. And what happened there? We predicted that green support line, that it would bounce off. And what happened? It bounced off it quite nicely. So that would have been just on the Vanguard alone, a nice little 11% gain if you was doing the TA and following what we've been looking at. So we can see on the monthly moving average, we've got this moving average just there like that. But what we're going to do is to break this down and keep this super simple, and we're going pretty fast this week, is we're going to look at things on the weekly time frame instead of going through the monthly. So on the weekly, again, the overall trend, the main trend is down, as we can see. Now, is there a major trend line that we could bounce off? No. But we do have two key moving averages right here sitting on top of where the price is now. So let's mark that in as potential resistance because I don't think, let's look at the RSI as well. So Jay, what do we know about the RSI?
It will have a bounce off, I think.
Close. So the RSI is this purple one here with the magic numbers 30 and 70. Do you remember what 30 is?
It's too low.
Yep. So if it's 30, that means it's low and it means that the price is likely to come up. If it's above 70, it means the price is too high. It's likely to come down. Last time we hit this level here, we hit 54. We didn't even get that high. But look what happened. The price came on down. So now, yeah, we got this moving average problem here. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So let's, again, make it a little bit more simple. This is the S&P 500. We've got this nice support line here. Again, this screen looks a bit crazy if you're new to this, but we will go to one that's got a little bit less analysis. No, that one's got loads of analysis on it as well. Let's go here and let's remove the drawings. So wait, yeah, just remove the drawings. Okay, so let's now remove the moving averages. So on the weekly time frame, let's look at it. Which direction would you say this is, Jay? Which overall?
It's going down as well.
Going down. So we're still in this major downtrend. If we do this trend line here, we can see there's some pretty clean touches there as well for that downtrend. So we would expect, bing, bing, bing. Why is it not? Okay, do you see those touches? One touch, two touch, three touch. And what happened with those touches? Came on down when it hit them. So we would expect for this week, the price to come up here. And then once it's hit there, it's very, very likely that we're going down one more time. Where would we go down to? Probably around here. So that would mean pretty much all American stocks might take a big battering next week. Now, let's look at the VIX. Again, we're going a bit complicated here for the beginners, but the VIX, whatever the VIX does, the markets do the opposite of. So we can see that we've got a trend line here. So that would suggest, like this green arrow suggests, that we should be going up on the VIX, which would mean the market would be going down. Now, what's another reason that the market would go down? If the dollar goes up. Now, the dollar has been coming down recently, in recent weeks. It went on a crazy run up. And then we said it got a little bit too high. If we go to the daily and we look at the RSI on the dollar, we can see the RSI on the dollar got to what number, Jay? What number is that? 77, 78. So probably going to come down. So it came down from there and it's been doing that. But now the RSI has been at 31. And can we see a support line here where one touch, two touch? So what would we expect to happen next? Yep, we're expecting the dollar to go up. And if the dollar goes up, that's not good for anybody. So yeah, at the moment, it's not looking good for the markets. So let's keep on looking at the big markets. Let's look at the total crypto market. Okay, so the total crypto market, we'll start on the weekly. Again, let's have a look. What is the overall trend? Definitely down. However, look at this really nice support line that we've got here on the screen line. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. One touch, two touch. It's just beautiful. It's just sitting there. It's not gone below here. If it dropped below here, then we would have a big problem in crypto. But if it doesn't drop below there, all is good. Especially because we're in log scale, if we actually zoom out and look at the overall general picture, which direction is it overall? So there's a lot of fear in the market, but when you actually look at this trend line, one touch, two touch, three touch, right now, the price is pretty much where it should be. So not saying it's a good time to buy, but the analysis says, especially a week to around June, the RSI on the total crypto market was at, what number was that, Jay?
27.
27. So history says that might have been a good time to get involved, and still is. Me personally, this is a buying zone for me. I'm dollar cost averaging in this zone. So dollar cost averaging, just put in a little bit amount in every single week. But let's go and look at the crypto market on the daily. Now, as we can see, this zone here on the weekly had this nice support. But when we look at on the daily, look how nice that is. Now, I don't know if this is just me, but this looks like the price is obeying this support line. It just doesn't seem to be breaking it. So I would say potentially the crypto markets could go up, but we will see. Again, that RSI on the daily is disgusting, that dip. So let's see what happens there. But let's have a look at the altcoins. So altcoins, everything outside of Bitcoin. Again, we've got a really nice support level just here. We've had our dip. Bitcoin, the one everyone's talking about. Now, we've been calling for a 12K Bitcoin since November. Everyone said we were crazy. But the reason we called this is because what do we do first? We look at the monthly first when nobody else is looking at the monthly. So when you zoom out, let's zoom out and see the overall big picture of Bitcoin. The overall big picture of Bitcoin is it's definitely in an uptrend. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yep. However, right now, it's taken a little bit of a breather. It's come down and we're at 16. Now, what Bitcoin traditionally does when it's coming down is it normally falls by 82%. I need to write that down. 82 to 86% it normally falls. Now, right now, we have fallen 77%. So how much more percent would that mean that we've potentially got to go? 5 to 10% more. So that would bring us to 82% would bring us to the price of around 12,000, like we've been calling for. 86% would bring us to around just over 8,000, 9,000. So if we're lucky, it'll come down to those prices. If not, then yeah. So let's just do the maths on it, right? If Bitcoin was at 70K all-time highs, and if it's coming down to 7K, 8K, that is a pretty much a good bargain. And if it even got from 7, or even if it got from 16 back to 30, you've still doubled your money. So that's that one. So Ethereum, the one everyone's talking about, again, really nice support line here that we can see. We can see it has broken this downtrend. So there was a downtrend here. And can you see how it's just popped above it now? So that would suggest, being as it's popped above it, let's go into the weekly, see if it looks a little bit more clearer. A little bit more clearer. It's teased it on the weekly, but it's not fully clear yet. So it's not a good buy zone yet. We would want to see it break that, and then it's good to go. But if we follow the RSI rule, we can see there was a time when the RSI on Ethereum was at 19, which is like screaming, buy me, buy me. So that would have been a good zone. And if you got it when the RSI was there, you would have got it at $900, and it's now at 1,200. So that's like a 20% move from June to, and again, considering your bank's giving you 0.025, yeah, about a 20% move in 3-4 months. That's nothing to complain about, considering the S&P normally gives 10 to 20%. So that's that. Let's go and look at our favorite country in the world, Great Britain. And let's go and have a look at that fantastic market that we live in that doesn't tend to do anything. So UKX, here we go. So we'll start on the monthly, as we always do, and just refresh and see where we're at. Okay, surprise. Look at that. It's got up to this resistance zone, and what's happened, Jay? It's bounced down, and then it's hit this support zone, and what's it done?
Rising.
Kind of rising. However, based on history, what would you say is likely to happen when it hits this level again?
It's gonna go back down.
Probably going to go back down. So, and at the moment, with all the things in politics in the UK, is it looking good for the UK markets? Probably not. And even more so, it looks like the RSI is rising on the monthly, let alone the weekly. So things aren't looking too great for any UK stocks and just the UK economy in general. But then when we go to the daily, you can see we've had a tiny little breakout of this trend, can see I've got my short trades ready. If this thing comes crashing down, I'm going to be in the money. So we'll see. And again, if we look at this RSI, you see what it's doing? It's a little bit higher, right?
Yeah.
So if it peaks above this here, then we're good to sell. So let's go and look at some stocks. So we'll stick to my watch list. We'll do gold as well, just quickly. Okay, so gold. You see that? What do you see?
Well, it's kind of gone below the resistance line.
Yeah, and then if I do this,
It's kept with the support line.
yep,
And kind of followed it.
yep.
Back down.
So it's just perfectly obeyed this support line. It's just not even attempted to even sniff going below it. It's just, but when we look at the price of gold right now, and we use our trusted friend, the RSI, what was kind of obvious that might have happened around here? Yep. And look what's happened. It's decreased. So again, ideally on gold, we want to find a time when the RSI is all the way down there. So personally, for myself, I will not be buying any gold anytime soon. Yes, gold could spike from here and go all the way up, but personally, I don't think this is a great time to buy gold. The great time to buy gold was here when it was around the 1,600 mark. Okay, so let's go and look at Facebook, because that was one that I was screaming from the high heavens that it was a good time to buy. So if we look at this, Facebook was in a crazy downtrend, like getting battered, like no one's ever seen before. Now, Facebook at that point was at the same price it was at in 2015. Now, we don't even need to check their balance sheet, but is Facebook making more money than it was in 2015?
100%.
1,000,000%. Did they even have WhatsApp in 2015? Let's just double check and make sure we got our facts correct. What year did Facebook buy WhatsApp? See, nobody knows. 2014. Okay, so it was the year after. So it's literally at the same level Facebook was at a year after it bought WhatsApp. Now, I think it's safe to say Facebook's made a lot more money since then. So pricing it at the same level as that is completely unjustified, in my opinion. Now, again, we're looking at the weekly RSI here. And this thing was down at 17 in January. And then it got to 22 recently. So I personally called it. Got Mike's favorite green arrow here. We had a few gaps in it as well. So cheeky little trade for people there was little 10, 20, 50, 100 pound. I was telling is what I did. I didn't tell anyone to do anything because I'm not a financial advisor, but that would have been a nice little 30%. So an extra 30 quid on 100 pound that you could have made there. But overall, what are we expecting Facebook to do over the next 2 years? Do we believe Facebook over the next 2 years could potentially get back from 88 to 160? That's not even the all-time high.
Yeah.
It's quite reasonable to say that. Now, if it gets back to its all-time high, that's a whole different story. So 160 was there, 80% gain. If it gets back to its all-time high, that would be a 300% gain on Facebook. So that would be tripling your money on that one. Now, again, not financial advice, but personally, I would, being as what we've seen on the US market, it looks like this might come back down again. And from what we can see, you can see that it's kind of teasing that it might come back down again and come back down to this 88 price. So for me personally, anything below 88 on Facebook is an absolute steal. Okay, so that's Facebook. Let's go and look at our good friend Apple. So Apple, again, we've got this major trend line. It's going down. We would expect it. There's already a resistance here and a big moving average here. So we'd expect that to maybe come down as well. So Apple would be nice at anything below 120. Anything below 120 on Apple, I think is a good steal. On that one, let's have a look at Google. Again, this is one where this is just a crazy bargain right now. I just can't even believe people weren't even looking at this. It was at 150. It got down to $83. Like, I just can't even. There is no way anyone can tell me that Google right now is valued at what it was valued 2 years ago. Like, there's no way. There's clearly more people watching YouTube. There's clearly just more, just no way. So massively undervalued Google there. Do I think Google's got the potential to get back to its all-time highs of 150? Well, let's put it this way. If Google doesn't do it, if Google doesn't get back up there, America is dead. Like, pretty much. I think it's safe to say. Like, it's in everybody on the planet's best interest if Google gets back to 150. Because if it doesn't, then a lot of people in America, a lot of the biggest banks in the world are invested in Google. And if this thing doesn't get back up to 150, then we're probably going to have a world war because they're going to want to take money or things from other countries. So let's hope and pray that this gets back up to 150. I think it's pretty likely, though, on this one. Again, the TA, we look at that. We follow the RSI rule. It was at, what number was it at, Jay? Just then, it was at, but, oh, hang on a minute. Let's just move this. Yeah, there. 29.21. So had your buy signal. It was down. So yeah, that for me personally, the $83 mark, might want to write that one down. 83 on Google. Anything below 83 for me is a nice one there. But again, where is it now? Is it a good point now? I don't think so, because we look at these RSIs. They're not crazy high RSIs, but they are turning around. And we have had this touch on this trend line here. So 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, what do we expect? Probably going to go down. And based on what we've seen on the overall market, probably going to go down. So that's that one. Jason, I'm going to let you choose a company. Pick a company in the world that you're interested in looking at.
Tesla, sure.
Tesla. So Tesla has been behaving really strange recently. That is one crazy downtrend. Again, pretty much in half right now. All-time highs were 411, and it is now down at 176. Again, we're looking at this RSI. What did that get to?
23.59.
23.59. So again, this isn't financial advice, but again, look at this support line that's coincidentally around this 23.59 mark. Can we see it? So clearly, this is a very important level for Tesla. Again, Tesla is back to its November 2020 prices. Now, when we do the maths and we actually look at the company and we go and look, is Tesla making more money than it was in 2020? We go to Yahoo Finance. Let me just check the numbers. Well, we've read the earnings report, so I already know, yes, they're making more sales than they were before, but let's just check. So when we type in Tesla on the right-hand side, it should bring up their scores. Okay, so Tesla's revenue Up, up, up. Are they making more money than they were in 2020? Yes, they are. 31 billion in revenue, 721 in earnings. Now 53 billion in revenue, 5.52 billion in earnings, but apparently it should be half the price. So I don't know. You tell me, is that a bargain to pay the same price that you would have paid for a company when it was making 721 million a year to now get it for the same price when it's making 5.52 billion a year? It's a bit of a bargain. You might want to write that one down on your list. But again, do we think it can go a little bit lower? With Tesla, maybe yes. Maybe, just maybe. Personally, I want it to go down lower. If Tesla gets if Tesla gets to like $100, that is obscene, like ridiculous, especially being as they have their robots coming out this year. And next year, they also have the Tesla self-driving trucks. Now, if you know anything about business, then you know that companies, if they can have self-driving trucks versus paying for petrol, and petrol prices have gone up, or paying for people to drive, a lorry that can drive for 24 hours straight versus a lorry that can't. As a business owner, Jason, which lorry would you prefer to have?
24 hours straight.
There we go. So sometimes it's just about the basic logic. So let's wrap up and look at some of the cryptos. So we've done Bitcoin. Jason, pick a crypto. I'll go onto my crypto list. All cryptos we're holding. So pick one. Dot. Yeah. Oh, my favorite. How do you know? So Polkadot is annoying me because I want to get it for less than $5, but this thing just won't go below $5. I've been waiting for this thing to go below $5 since, I think it was May. I was like, yes, it's going to go below 5. It just didn't. Now, Polkadot's an interesting one because its all-time high was $56. And right now, it's at $5. So I'm just saying, if this thing does what I think it's going to do, yeah, it's offensive how rich some people can get off Polkadot. And where do I think it's going to get to? And I've said this multiple times. You can see my levels for Polkadot. I don't think it's even going to get, I think in 5 years' time, do I think Polkadot can get to $212? Yes. Is this going to be a great video to watch back in 5 years' time when we saw that it was $5 and then it becomes $212? It'll be a great video to watch back. So why am I kind of skeptical that it will even get to $5? Because we've got this price range here. This was the previous top, which we know previous tops make new supports, and it's just really struggling to go below there for a while, in fact. But again, when we look at it on the weekly, if we look at that RSI on the weekly, it has been getting destroyed for no reason. So the reason I say for no reason, because Polkadot is one of the only blockchains out there that is still making revenue in this terrible, terrible market condition, because they've been selling what's called their parachains, and they've been making money selling those parachains. So the company is actually making money, and the price is doing this. So the RSI on the weekly was at 35. On the daily, in May, we hit what? What's that, Jason?
22.28.
Yeah, 22.28. And now it's just hobbling along sideways. Now, not being a conspiracy theorist, but if I was a big bank and a big institution, and I realized how important Polkadot is to the crypto ecosystem, because it's the blockchain that allows all blockchains to communicate, would I want to pay $55 for it? Yeah. But if I could get it for $5 and it stayed at $5 for April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. What do you think banks have been doing this whole time?
Buying.
Yeah, I think they've been buying. So they've just been drip feed buying, not to make the price spike up too much so that they can get some more and more and more and more. So let's see what happens with Polkadot. So I'm going to do my final one today, and that's going to be Crow, because they are sponsoring the World Cup. And a lot of people thought this thing was going to go out of business like FTX. I didn't, just because Crow right now, people are panicking and going, oh my God, it's down, it's down. It's not down. It's actually at the same price that I got in at. So I initially got in here, February 21. We can see it was a great investment. We got out here. So we got out at 800%. Could have stayed in to 2,000%, but we wasn't greedy. We made sure we took our profits. And then we got in again here, hoping it would bounce off there. It didn't. So we took an L there. However, the price is now back where it was in 2021. But again, the golden rule, what happens when you zoom out? When you zoom out, is Crow doing that bad? Or is it just going sideways? It's not going down, is it? And then when we look at these massive fluctuations in the RSI on the weekly, right now, this RSI is at 31. So again, and then we've got this really nice support line here. Can you see that? So what would we expect to possibly happen?
For it to rise.
For it to rise. Low RSI, nice support bounce. And then the level where I would worry is if it came down to here. So if it dropped another 50%. But from the looks of things, might not happen. But hopefully it does, because then I can get it cheaper. So that is today's episode of Technically Speaking. Hopefully you took some value from that. Again, none of this was investment advice. All investment comes with risk. Hope you enjoyed the show. And thank you for my assistant today.